Okay, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for attending this wrap-up session of Lean Six Sigma Yellow Belt. I'm making this call from Barcelona in a terrace of a hostel, so there might be some background noise, but I do hope we get through with this session. Okay. So congratulations for making it this far. We've covered already all the phases that are required for the Lean Six Sigma methodology. And the agenda for today is we'll cover, we just have a high-level recap of what we've discussed so far. I'll give you some practical tips on how you would implement Lean Six Sigma, and we'll go through some of possible next steps for you guys if you plan to do Yellow Belt certification. And of course, we will allot the latter part of the session for the question and answer. Okay, so here are some high-level recap on Lean Six Sigma. So please do remember that Six Sigma has two definitions. One definition is it is a process description. It is a description of a process that's near perfect, but you would only have 3.4 defects per million opportunities. So that's one definition of Six Sigma. And the other definition is it is a methodology, step-by-step approach in order to improve your process. Next recap is you need to remember that the common methodology that's being used for Six Sigma is the DMAIC methodology. It's composed of 5 phases. You start with define. In define, you identify what the focus area is. You go to measure. In measure, we quantify the pain point of our customer. In analyze, we identify the root causes of our challenges. And then we go to improve, where we implement the solutions, okay, based on the root causes that I've identified. And finally, we go to control, where we make sure that the improvements we've done, the solutions or the improvements we've done become sustainable. Okay, always remember too that it's not always that you get to use the Six Sigma methodology in any project. So there are, in most cases, you will encounter in the workspace or in your personal processes 3 types of projects. The first one is what we call as the JDI, or the Just Do It. This is typically where you know what the causes are, and you just need to implement improvement actions to address these causes. So it's the JDI, and you might encounter a challenge where you would require reduction of the cycle time. Okay, in these cases, what's properly appropriate would be a lean project, and you may want to only consider the value stream map. Or if you're dealing with a challenge where you don't know what the underlying causes are and you need to improve them, then this is a candidate for a Six Sigma project. You can also consider Lean Six Sigma as a toolkit because it has a buffet of tools that you can use for different types of challenges that you would encounter. And constant exposure to these tools would make you more familiar with them and be better in the usage of these tools. Okay, I've added here a slide which I think are my most frequently used tools, and hopefully you get to also use this more often than not. So some of my frequently used tools, my favorites are the Pareto. Okay, normally I use this for prioritization. Especially this is quite helpful for me because I am an ENFP, like Jonas. I think Jonas is an ENFP. When you are an ENFP, you try to do everything at the same time, and sometimes you just need to prioritize. So it helps when you use Pareto because you need to identify what the critical few are, or the vital few. Okay, because 80% of the results. Okay, hold on. I think my connection is becoming unstable. Let me just. Okay, I'm back. Hopefully I'm back. 80% of the results are coming in from 20% of the causes. Okay, another favorite tool that I have is the 8 types of waste. We know that the 8 types of waste, when you are familiar with this, you tend to look at the process with what we call as the lean goggles. So you are able to identify anything that doesn't add value to your customer and help you. It helps you improve the process. Okay, third tool that I like is the VOC to CTQ, or the voice of the customer to critical to quality. More often than not, especially if you are a freelancer or dealing with different clients, requirements of your clients can be a bit ambiguous and it can lead into confusion. So almost always the VOC to CTQ helps you translate the requirements of your customer into something that you can easily address, adopt in your project. Another tool that I like is the anti-solution. This is quite useful for brainstorming, and especially if people are running out of ideas. So you just need to flip the script and you have their creative juices flowing. Another tool that I like is Camper. Okay, it helps you really come up with innovative ideas in order to improve a project. In order to improve a product. Another tool that I like, this is a convergent tool, is multi-voting. I like this tool whenever I handle with a team of people in the room and they have so many ideas, but they can't move forward. So I use this tool to help them converge to some actions that they can really address. So what's so good about this converging tool is it allows everyone to have a voice. It gives them the power ultimately to choose what they would like to implement. Okay, so multi-voting. FMEA, I like it as well from a risk standpoint. Almost always I would ask myself, what can go wrong? And then if the severity of the failure is high, then I try to have some steps in place to ensure that the failure doesn't occur. And of course, Pokayoki, one best way to really improve is ask yourself, how can I prevent this error from happening? And the last one, I think it's just a joke. I got that from you guys. It's WWJD. Any idea what WWJD is? Jonas, do you have any idea what WWJD is?
What would Jodel do?
Yeah, I got that from you guys. So what would Jodel do? So normally when I'm facing in a situation, so sometimes I would ask myself, if I were a Lean Six Sigma practitioner, how would I address this problem? So it's just a tool that I would use. What would Jay do? Okay. Next one. We cover now some of the toll gates. So these are some of the questions that you need to ask yourself when you are implementing a project. Because more often than not, before you can move to a phase, you need to have some tick boxes reviewed just to make sure that you're ready to move to the next phase. So I'll leave this to you as a reference in the future if you have a Six Sigma project. So let's look at some of the questions that you will have to ask. So the first one in define, here are some of the questions that you need to answer first before you can move to measure. So the questions like, what are we trying to accomplish? So it has